Hi everyone, I'm Luca, an Italian language lover and polyglot, and in this video I would like to talk to you about 3 big lessons I've learned from learning a bunch of languages, and in particular from learning Greek. Let's jump right in. The first big lesson I've learned is the power and the importance of flexibility in language learning. Every language has its own quirks, its own difficulties. So while there is safety in using a method that you like, maybe because you've been using it and applying it to other languages, it's also important to make sure that the process and your own method adapts to the language you're learning. In my own case, as an Italian learning Greek, I've just figured out that pronunciation was particularly tough, especially when it comes, for example, to sounds like k, etc. So while following my bidirectional translation method at the very beginning, I also made sure that I spent 5 to 10 minutes a day pronouncing words out loud and making sure that I was getting the sounds right from the very beginning. This is quite important when it comes to learning any language. So if you're learning Arabic or Turkish or Georgian, make sure that you identify the most important and difficult aspects of the language and you tackle them head on while sticking to your own language learning plan. The other big lesson I've learned is that if you want to speak a language fluently, you have to talk to people. You have to interact with people in real life. There is no shortcut to this. You can use ChatGPT, you can use Tandem Partners, you can talk to your tutor, you can read and you can listen to a lot of podcasts or watch TV shows, but at the end of the day, to develop fluency, you need to talk and interact with people. This is the biggest lesson I've learned when I went to Greece last year, 2023. I went to Crete and then I went to Athens, and I realized that before going there, my mind was full of negative thoughts. What happens if my mind goes blank when I'm talking to someone? What happens if someone asks me something and I'm just at a loss for words? What happens if I do not understand? So all these negative things were like a whirlwind in my mind, and I realized that these were just fears. When I went there, when I went to Greece and I started interacting with people, I realized that one, I could actually talk to people, I could get my point across, yes, with some mistakes, but then I could actually understand them. I could interact with people in supermarkets, or like interacting with, for example, Dimitri and Marilena from Easy Greek. Hi guys, if you're watching this video. And I realized I could actually communicate. Now, what changed in my mind was not so much as my language skills, because I don't think that in a few days my language skills skyrocketed, but what really changed is that I experienced a mind shift. I told myself, I patted myself on the back, and I told myself, you can actually speak the language. And I do believe that fluency is not just the amount of words or phrases that you know. It's not how skilled you are in pronouncing words, how good your pronunciation is. It's about the level of confidence that you have by and when you use your target language. So remember this lesson. No matter how much time you're spending and you're investing in your target language, sooner or later you will have to use it. And when you use it, yes, you will have to face the music. As they say, you will have to face your fears. There might be some embarrassing and awkward moments, but then every single situation is a lesson you can learn from, and it will make you stronger. It will make you more confident. It will make you more sure of yourself using that language. The third big lesson I've learned is that we need to develop patience. Language learning takes time. You cannot measure language learning in hours or weeks or months. Yes, there are people on YouTube who claim they have learned a language in 10 days or 2 weeks or 3 months, but the reality is that language learning, and I'm pretty sure you've figured that out yourself, takes a long time. So you cannot measure language learning in months, you have to measure it in years. In my case, when it comes to learning Greek at the beginning, and especially after 2 years of learning, I was frustrated because I thought, wait a second, I've been learning a bunch of languages, I have a lot of experience, and I still find it difficult to pronounce sentences or to conjugate the right verb or to have a conversation for that matter. And I just realized, okay, wait a second, you need patience. It takes time. Greek is more difficult than, say, Spanish or other languages you've learned. And so the most important thing is like, be patient and rely on systems. Make sure that you listen to the language every single day, because if you do that, be it for 15 minutes or 30 minutes, the language is going to get inside of you, and then you will be able to speak. This is exactly what I did 6 years ago. I told myself, okay, I still find it difficult to speak, but what can I do right now? And that was listening. And I started watching a lot of YouTube videos, and I started listening to a lot of podcasts, and in particular, the Easy Greek podcasts and videos. Thank you, Dimitri and Marilena. I cannot thank you enough for all the wonderful stuff you've been creating. And then it happened. Then I started speaking with my tutor, and then I went to Greece and I started using the language, and I realized I could understand and that I could speak, as I said earlier in the video. So we need patience. Every time that we find it difficult to do something, every time we feel frustrated, every time we think about giving up everything, think that language learning takes a long time, but if you focus on each step, step by step, you will reach the peak of the mountain. So, in a nutshell, those were the biggest lessons I've drawn from learning Greek. And if you want to hear me and see me speak Greek, just click on a link somewhere up there to watch a video where I speak in Greek for 10 minutes about the process of learning Greek, the difficulties I had, the skills I have developed, and the dreams and the plans I have for 2024 and 2025 and 2026 for Greek. Have a fantastic day and happy language learning.